The football is finally back. But our 3 points going to be back. Because, God, it feels a long time. Fulham match preview. Welcome back to the video on Black and White Banter, Newcastle fans. If you are new to Black and White Banter, you've just randomly stumbled across us on YouTube. Give us one of these. It goes a hell of a long way. Just gets us a bit further up the search bar, expands our audience a little bit. And if by the end of this video you've liked the things that have come out of my mouth, some people do, then click the subscribe button. You'll get a notification every single time. And if you haven't already, we are on Facebook, we are on Instagram, we are on TikTok, down with the kids, and we are on Twitter. So get us on there as well, where we post funny stuff, without sounding biased, every single day. So it's Fulham. The international break is finally over. My God, if any of you watching this are anything like me at all, I despise the international break. Pointless friendlies, injuries, just blah. I'm so excited that the Premier League season's back. Like, what do we do on a weekend during the international break? It was hell. And it's not an easy game. I mentioned at the start of this video in the intro, it would be nice to get 3 points. I'm not one of these Newcastle fans. Before we touch on the opposition and the game itself on Saturday, I am not one of these who thinks we've had a bad start to the season. There's a couple of people, I did a blog post about it a couple of weeks ago on social media. A couple of people have pressed the panic button. Fans booed it home to Bournemouth, which I just think is a disgrace. I'm not going to even get into that. If we'd have had the VAR decision against Palace, if we got the draw against Liverpool, which we should have, on another day with all that injury time, the table's looking different. And I said at the start of the season, we didn't get some of the attacking players we wanted in the window. And we've had injuries to key players. Sitting mid-table after this many games is about right. I think our performances have been mixed in matches. It's about right. And I'm still enjoying the ride. I will continue. It's almost a year since the takeover. I'm still continuing to enjoy the ride. And the next ride is Fulham away at Craven Cottage. No trains tomorrow, rail strike. Thank you very much, train staff. But we, of course, going to sell out the away end. I am going down tomorrow on the party bus, 6 a.m. bus. Cannot wait to get back amongst it with the lads. So that's another little away. I've already done Craven Cottage. It's a lovely little stadium, but I cannot wait to get back amongst it. Beer in hand, like I say, and hopefully see 3 points. Now, tomorrow's game is a tricky one. Fulham have started the season very well. I think they probably started the season how we maybe expected Nottingham Forest to maybe start. I don't know. I know they signed a lot of players, but Fulham have almost started like a team who's never been in the Premier League before. We've seen it many times, how that newly promoted for the first time team comes straight out the traps. Fulham look very good under Silva. They've only lost 2 matches to a couple of the bigger teams, to Arsenal and Tottenham, I believe. They've got some really good players. One that we know a little bit too much about. God, if there's one thing I don't want to happen tomorrow, it's Alexander Mitrovic to score. No matter what the scoreline of the match is, we could win. Imagine a world in the Newcastle community next week if Mitrovic scores. I told you so. Told you so. Should never have sold him. It's a continued conversation every single time Mitrovic scores. There'll be a Newcastle fan post on social media saying, have you seen he's bagged another one for Serbia? We don't care. He's not our player anymore. I do not want to leave the house next week if Mitrovic scores. Is that likely? Well, of course it is, because if Fulham are going to score and we don't keep a clean sheet, there's only one man you'd expect to be the person to get the goal. So he's a danger man. Your Botmans, your Burns, your Shahs have got their work cut out tomorrow to keep him quiet. Paulina's really impressed for me in midfield. Don't know whether I'm pronouncing that right, but he's actually suspended. So he's been one of their key midfielders this season so far, and he's out. So that's a big plus for Newcastle tomorrow. Fulham like to play the offside trap. They do that quite a lot. That could work in our favour with regards to the pace we have. If Callum Wilson plays, and it looks like he will, I'll touch on that in a second. Fulham like to get crosses in the box. So again, if Mitrovic is starting, he does have a bit of an injury, the defenders are going to have to graft. I would maybe even consider putting Dan Burn in. I know that caused debate against Bournemouth. Should he have been in, should he not? After Botman and Shard played previous, I would maybe keep Dan Burn in the mix tomorrow. He didn't really do too much wrong against Bournemouth. Their goal was a bit sloppy, but apart from that, generally sound in a game we dominated. They like to, like I say, balls in the box constantly, and that's what Mitrovic lives off. They are going to cause us problems. I don't expect us to go there tomorrow and dominate like we have some matches. I would love to see it, but I think Fulham will be straight out the traps. We've both had that little break off. But let's stop talking about the opposition. Let's talk about more what we can do. So injury news. We still don't know on a few. It sounds like Bruno is fit. Get in his magic hat. Hopefully he wears it tomorrow. So that's fantastic news after he picked up a knock for Brazil. Maximin is hitty-missy. It sounds like he will make the game, but he might not start. I cannot wait to see Alan St-Maximin get back in the team, especially against a team like Fulham, who like to play the offside trap. We're missing him. Fraser and Almiron do not have enough quality. Jacob Murphy is absolute dog shite at the moment, pardon the French. So Alan St-Maximin, for me, is turning very crucial to what we do going forward as a team. He really, really is, more so than ever now because of the amount of chances we are missing in games and the lack of quality we've had in the final third recently. Like I say, Callum Wilson is supposed to be fit. I cannot wait to see him get back amongst it. Whether Eddie Howe dresses him up in cotton wool, I don't know. His injury record is not getting any better. I think it's going to stop him getting in the World Cup squad, if I'm being honest, which breaks my heart a little bit for the lad, but I don't see him staying fit enough for Gareth Southgate to consider him. But we don't really have any other options. Chris Wood, it looks like, might not make the team. Isaac's out for a couple of weeks. Of course he is, from a stupid international injury. What do you do? I feel like we've got to go for it. We've got to throw him in. If you do wrap him up in cotton wool at Craven Cottage on Saturday, who do you replace him with? Do we go with no striker? We've tried Maxim in there. That's been awful in the past. I don't know. Do you put Big Joe Linton up there again? He proved he could score last season. He got his scoring boots against the likes of Norwich. I don't know. But if Callum Wilson isn't fully fit, him being fit is crucial to what we do, in my opinion. Yes, we've got Isaac, but I don't know whether I would risk him for the full match. And that'll all depend, I think, Eddie Howe's thinking with how the game's going, whether we lose and whether it's a draw. So that's good news that he's back. Like I say, Maximin, quite important that we get him in as quickly as. Shelby's edging closer to a return, but he's not going to be back for this match. But that's good news. He's not looking like he's going to be out because, again, I think he offers us an option in central midfield because the midfield at the moment is picking itself. Now, Elliot Anderson, a lot of people are calling him to get a start. I would personally be very, very tempted if I was Eddie Howe to throw him in. In the last match against Bournemouth, we lacked an Elliot Anderson, a direct central midfielder to give us a bit of quality, a bit of fearless dribbling, if you like, from central midfield, linking up with the forward players. Because Fraser's not offering it. Almiron doesn't really offer it. He's just very good at his runs and his pace. So yeah, I would be all for Elliot Anderson maybe coming in for one of our central midfielders. I don't feel like Joe Willock's really been at the races the last couple of matches. I don't know. That's up to Eddie Howe. He's got some decisions to make there, whether he thinks Elliot is ready to jump in that first team. But wouldn't that be lovely to see? I'm confident going into tomorrow's game that we're going to get something. I really am. It's a nice, almost feels like a fresh start. So if you go back to that Bournemouth game, which feels like a while ago, there was a lot of negativity, the booing, the lack of quality in the final third, like I've already talked about. And this feels so long after that now, this international break. The players have had a chance to regroup, refocus, work on things in training, which I'm sure Eddie Howe, the meticulous man he is, will have drilled time after time after time. And I think it's a good opportunity to almost feel like we start our season again. A little bit. I know that sounds a little bit extreme, but we have had a couple of games now of not poor performances, but poor going forward, essentially. And against Bournemouth, we just weren't at it. Eddie Howe said that's the worst game he's seen under Newcastle as Newcastle manager. So if you are seeing the worst ever game in your time in charge, that's a perfect opportunity in the national break to do something about that and all guns blazing in the next match, which is why I am confident. And if Maximin can make the team, yeah, I think the boys will put on a show. Maggie has gone for a draw tomorrow, and I'm going to back War Mags on this one. I'm going to back Maggie and go for a draw as well. I'd be more than happy with a point from Craven Cottage. I know we need wins. I know I mentioned that at the start of the video, but a point in a difficult place to go in Fulham, who've only lost 2 matches this season, and they've got the meat rows if he plays. Still a bit of a spring in their step. things are going pretty well for them. It's a good point. It is. And then we go again at home to Brentford next week. So I'll go for the draw. I hope I'm proved wrong on that one. Cannot wait to get down on that party bus tomorrow. I'm going to be touching down with an away day vlog, very similar to Liverpool if you watch my last one. And it's just been a while, hasn't it? West Ham was cancelled. Get that beer in hand and that ham and peas pudding sarnie and that tin foil. The boys are heading down to London on the party bus. So if you haven't liked this video, Newcastle fans, I want to know what you think about tomorrow's match in the comments just down here. And whilst you're writing a comment, why don't you give us one of these? I don't even care whether it's one of these, to be totally honest. It just helps. And click subscribe and get us on all social media channels as well. And I will be touching down, hopefully, on the way home from Fulham tomorrow. A happy man with a vlog for you to watch of a lovely 3 points. Away the lads, and I'll see you on the away day vlog. Oh,